Hello, it's September 23rd. This is the S Rank Media Club live. Hang out with us with podcasting and our world famous segments.
World famous.
The hot headline tonight: 820 days until Sonic the Movie 3 hits theaters. The Sonic community is a little upset that we haven't gotten any more updates on Sonic in the last week, me included.
So you speak for the community then?
I don't want to be the one to say that. I have heard in the community that the community might be turning against Tails.
Okay.
So
Where is this community located? How can people find the community?
mostly on Twitter, you can find this
Okay.
community.
Okay.
Beyond that, tonight we got a ranking of loot grind RPGs, Diablo, the original, and ranking of Cage, the movie Raising Arizona.
Yeah.
So
So
yeah,
you want to
how's the
get
week
into the
been?
weekly media roundup? Um, I didn't do too much this week, but I started BioShock last week, and
Bioshock 1.
yeah, the original. So Epic Games, I don't remember how long ago they do like a free game every so often. I think it's like bi-weekly or something like that. They
Right.
actually released the BioShock like first three, I think, for free
Mhm.
a while back. So I picked those up. And most of the time that's what I do with a lot of those games. Like I don't necessarily download them right away, but I'll purchase them through their launcher just so they're in my
Right.
library.
Yeah.
And then if I want to go back and play them, then I can play them. So but yeah, I was just itching to try something different, and BioShock was there, and I was like, I've heard BioShock is a very, very good game from a
Yeah,
lot of people. So
it's got a really good story to it. The story is very engaging, I would say. I don't I don't play many games for story, and that is yeah, it's definitely worth playing for sure all the way through with the story.
yeah, the story is definitely very interesting. Excuse me. Um, still, still at the very beginning, so I'm working my way through it. But I was surprised how like kind of haunting it is, or like
Right.
scary. I
Yeah,
didn't
it's got
realize
a
it was
lot
gonna
of
be like that.
right, it's very horror-esque.
Right. I didn't realize that, and then the beginning of it is like the plane crashes, and I don't
Right.
know, it makes the player want to learn more for sure, and I think that's one of its best
Right.
qualities. I think
Yeah. Yeah, really
so.
cool game.
But yeah, so I'll probably keep playing that here, bits and pieces, and then maybe I'll play the second and the third here, but we'll see. Um, Other than that, I've started playing Omega Strikers, which is like a tabletop, or I wouldn't say tabletop, but like a almost MOBA inspired hockey, like table hockey or air hockey type game.
Oh yeah, you're saying
Where
something about that.
yeah, so it's like teams of three, and then each each person has their own, I don't know, agent or character that has different abilities,
Mhm.
similar to like League of Legends. Um, and you use your abilities to hit the puck or redirect the puck or hit players. And you have like a little shield bar. And then if your shield goes out, then you're more prone to being hit off the map. And then once you're hit off the map, then you're unable to help your team for I want to say like 15, 20 seconds, I think is the timer for that. So
Mhm.
it's a lot of fun. If you have three friends, they're quick games, kind of like Rocket League, like I think 4 or 5 minute games, up to 5, or win by 2 after time expires. So I think there's a lot of opportunity for high skill ceiling, I guess,
Mhm.
because there's all these. They're going to keep releasing new types of players and agents. I don't know what you want to call them.
Mhm.
So you'll have people doing different things with different agents, and probably coming up with um, meta plays and stuff like that. And yeah, so it released on Thursday. I think I've already played over 50 games. So
Hmm. Interesting. Oh, Mega Strikers, you said that was called?
Yeah, and they're actually running like a contest for content creators. I think mostly Twitch streamers, where you set your allegiance to a team,
Mhm.
and then you get an emote that you can use within the game. But each win that you get goes to the total of that streamer. So,
Hmm.
um, like Doctor Lupo, Moist Critical, Hafu.
I'm sorry, did you say Moist Critical?
Yeah,
That's the streamer name. Oh,
yeah. You
okay.
don't know Charlie?
No.
Oh, he created Moist Esports.
I gotcha. I'm not huge on the Twitch streaming community, so
Okay, yeah,
okay.
yeah. Some
Oh,
big stuff happened in Twitch this week. So,
oh yeah, I
but
saw
anyway,
that.
how was your guys' weeks?
um, so uh, I watched Morbius with a group of people on Saturday. Uh,
That shocks
That's
me,
why
honestly.
we were talking before the show. I saw it up on your list, and I was like,
yeah,
asking you, Drew. I was like, did you think he watched the whole Morbius movie by himself?
watched the whole
And I was like,
movie.
there's no way.
Not by myself, no.
Right?
But
There's the qualifier.
yeah,
Hmm.
that movie, man, it's like it's so dumb. And like they just do senseless things the whole movie. There's barely a villain, and then like there's a villain for like 5 minutes, but maybe the main character is the villain for most of the movie. Um, so God, what it just like the concept of it and everything they do is just dumb. I don't even want to. It's
You don't need to give it any more airtime. It doesn't
no.
deserve anything.
I want to give Morbius an E. I would like to rank Morbius as an E. Um,
Very fair ranking.
You guys were taking shots every time he said Morbin time, though, right? That's how you got through it.
he never says Morbin time.
No, never.
Never. Which I did not expect him to. I thought that was a joke, but one of the people watching it with me was like the whole movie's like, when is he gonna say Morbin time? I'm like, I don't think that happens, but oh, yeah, so other than that, this new game that just came to Game Pass, I think it just came to PC, but either way, it just came to Game Pass. It's called Metal Hellsinger, and it's this like think of like Doom, but it's rhythm based. So it's like you're playing Doom, but it's metal music. It's all metal songs, and you're playing. And if you damage on the beats, your damage goes way up, and it makes your multiplier go higher. So
Is it
it's
similar to that other game we were talking about?
that
BPM?
you know, I don't think it's. I don't know because I haven't played that one, but from what I looked at, this one, I'm sure there's some similarities, but yeah, it's so much fun to like play. You really kind of have to follow the beat to start playing it, and it really has an intensity that's heightened by keeping a beat with your attacks. Um, and
Are
I've
there graphical? Sorry, go ahead.
no,
Stop interrupting you.
that's all right. I've played through probably I think 5 of 8 worlds, like levels essentially, and then there's these little challenges for each one. But yeah, I'm probably gonna play the rest of it. It's a really cool experience. It's a novel play style, I guess.
It sounds like someone just modded Doom to add added damage when the beat plays. So
Yeah, well, basically you have if you're not hitting on the beats, you're not gonna win. You know, like so you want to be hitting on the beats, and you kind of start to find your rhythms with different weapons. So it's like and the sounds of the weapons hitting will also kind of play with rhythm. The reloading goes with a rhythm, and you can hit an early beat at the right time, and you'll get a quick reload. So it's just it's very engaging. I found, and I want to keep playing it.
right.
And I did not like all the songs, but a few of them I was having a lot of fun playing. So
Are there graphical like cues?
yeah, you have a like your bar in the middle, and then you have beats coming in on the side.
Okay, so
But
that's how the BPM was as well.
yeah, but I wasn't playing the beat visually. Like, I wasn't, like, trying to look at it and match the beat timing. I was just keeping the beat while I was playing. Is
Right.
kinda, I think, the way that you
Yeah, I
but
definitely agree because I mean, I'd like to say I'm pretty rhythmically sound, so I wouldn't have too much of an issue. But I certainly say there's probably people that might need that for added
but, I mean,
benefit. But
if you have Game Pass, which you should have Game Pass because it has awesome new games all the time, um, I would say just give this game a try. It's a lot of fun, and I don't think it's super long because it's only the 8 worlds, and then if you wanted to dive further in, there's, like, harder difficulty, but yeah, a lot of fun. Cujo, what about you?
I can't say too much about me. I did. I guess I can talk about two things. I did finish. I finally got through the Hades epilogue.
Oh, nice. So you've completed that.
Effectively, like I'm definitely. There's still a couple things I could do in Hades, and I think I might.
Mhm.
But my time with that game is definitely very close to running its course.
Gotcha.
Which I gotta say, when I first picked up that game, I was not expecting my play time would be like 90 plus hours, but here we are.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, like there's definitely, I definitely would say it was worth it though. The epilogue was pretty well done, and I mean, there's still a couple character quest lines that I still need to complete. So I mean, there's definitely still some runs and hours that I can hammer out with it, but I don't see myself playing it more than like probably like 5 or 6 more hours.
I gotcha.
Other than that, the big thing I've been watching because the anime season 3 is coming out next month. I've been rewatching all of Mob Psycho 100, which is a fantastic anime if you haven't seen it.
Just okay. As efficiently as you can, explain to me what the title means in the anime.
Okay, so all right, so I can kind of explain this while kind of giving you a brief plot synopsis. So
Okay.
the anime follows your main character. His name is Shigeo Kageyama, which but he's known as Mob, which for if you don't know, Mob and like it's effectively means like a background character or like just someone who just really doesn't stand out. So hence where the Mob comes from. But the thing is that the one thing that's remarkable about him is that he's an incredibly powerful esper or psychic. So there's your psycho, and then as far but and with regards to that, like he has some pretty deep seated emotional issues because of things that he's internalized. So because of that, he has this tendency of bottling up his emotions until he can't bottle them up anymore due to circumstances like stressing him out, making him like infuriating him or things like that. At which case, he kind of well, let's just say his emotions kind of boil over.
Mhm.
And in the anime, you can actually kind of see that, which is kind of like indicated by like a counter that goes up, like the more stress that he's under.
Okay.
And then of course, when he hits 100%, that's when he kind of,
Uh,
his emotions boil over.
okay.
So a lot of the anime kind of focuses on Mob as he's kind of going through his life and trying to improve himself and become like a more respectable person.
sounds interesting.
I gotcha.
I heard there was some controversy with the voice actors, though.
Hmm.
Um, something about they're not using the same voice actor for some reason. I think it had to do with what's it called? Unionization or some sort of like negotiations that were happening with the studio.
Is that
Um,
for the Western? Is that for the Japanese voice actors or for the English voice actors?
I think it's for the English actors.
Yeah, Quinn Kudra
Okay.
only watches subs, so
only subs.
Oh,
Sorry.
yeah.
okay, hold on. That is a very unfair characterization. So my stance on the subs versus dubs. I will watch anything in any language as long as it's good.
Hey,
The
Kudra, how do you feel about the idea that all anime is dubbed?
I mean, that's technically true. I mean, the Japanese language is still it's the Japanese dub, so to speak.
Right.
But
Oh.
if I'm talking about like subs versus dubs, or like Japanese language, watching it in the original Japanese versus watching it in English, like it doesn't make too much of a difference to me. Most of the time I watch anime in subs just because I tend to be watching anime as it releases, which is usually before the English dub is released.
Sure, gotcha.
So
Yep. Yeah, I just pulled up the article. It's for Mob's American or English voice actor. Isn't coming back because of union contract negotiations with Crunchyroll.
yeah, I haven't heard anything about that.
Yeah, so I saw that a few places, but I did see Crunchyroll. You know how Funimation and Crunchyroll are supposed to merge? Apparently, Crunchyroll is just going to be the only platform, and Funimation's just kind of gonna go away.
Yeah, it's just kind of going to get merged into Crunchyroll effectively. Right. And then Crunchyroll now is just owned by Sony. So
Microsoft should file a complaint.
What?
We want to keep
Microsoft doesn't make anime.
I know, but it was a joke about the whole Microsoft buying Activision and Sony's filing complaints in the UK.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tough shit.
Oh man. So Quinn, do we want to talk about the Twitch drama?
I don't think so. I think if you really want to get a full in-depth look, I'm sure you can find. I watch Ludwig, who's he's a YouTube streamer now, but formerly of Twitch, and he does a really in-depth kind of facts only of what happened.
Facts only.
So essentially, there was just a big blow up on Twitch this week, from gambling to sexual assault to breakups, all within like 2 weeks or something like that.
All the drama in one place.
Right. But anyway, Twitch, I think it was 2 days ago, after all of this blew over, announced they're getting rid of gambling. But just like slots and stuff like that, not like sports gambling, obviously, because they make too much money off sports gambling, so they wouldn't get rid of that. So yeah, so that's like a big thing in Twitch, is kind of the predatory gambling channels. Some streamers use it heavily. What blew it up was a streamer named Slick, I believe. He was essentially owed a bunch of people money because he was addicted to gambling.
What?
Like over $350,000, something like that. So
jeez,
that's kind of how it started, and then more people got involved, and then shade would just be being thrown, and then Twitch is like, okay, gambling's done. But then the following day they said, we're getting rid of our 70-30 split for revenue with the creators.
Yeah, going to 50-50.
It was like, what? You just had your biggest PR win, and then you just gave the worst PR loss of all time.
Yeah.
After you were so high, and then you're just like, no, fuck you guys. It didn't make sense to me.
Yeah, our show is open for contract with another streaming service.
Yeah.
Well, just move exclusively to YouTube.
Yeah, that was kind of a Twitch issue.
Speaking of gambling, Diablo, where you gamble with every enemy killed. Do you guys see the Diablo 4 leak stuff?
Are you talking about how they're doing an end game beta for people?
And the hour of leak gameplay and all this.
No, I didn't see the hour of leak gameplay.
I'm trying not to get too excited about Diablo 4, but it looks like it might be kind of fun.
You let me know how it is.
That's all right. Kudra doesn't like anything.
No, like my problem is like, oh, okay. I love Diablo. I do. Like it is a game. It is a series that I have kind of grown up with as very macabre series to grow up with. But regardless, it's just really that like I just don't like Blizzard as a company.
Oh, okay. It's about, well, soon Microsoft will own them.
And that's kind of like my whole thing. Like honestly, I want Microsoft to own Blizzard just so that just so I have any hope that Blizzard might improve as a company. I mean, most of
Yeah.
the game developers who actually worked on a lot of beloved games that we remember fondly, like in the past that Blizzard created, like Diablo and Diablo 2, for example,
Yeah.
were all created by people who have now gone off to fund their own companies. Like
Sure.
actually one of them would be like Moon Studios, which is now which made the Ori games.
Yeah, I mean, it's a hard thing, right? The art and the artist, and you got Bobby Kotick, but then you also have, he's not the only person there. There's a bunch of other people that work there that built the games over time. You know,
Sure.
Bobby Kotick's gonna get a fuck ton of money either way. It doesn't like it, so it's almost like, because he's gonna get fired and get some kind of package on his way out too.
Which
But
is unfortunate.
yeah, but that's probably what's gonna happen. But yeah, I mean, you can do the same thing with movies though. Like you can look at old movies and then like you probably wouldn't even know some movie you love. You look and it's like, oh, this guy's attached to it. It's like, oh fuck. Like that's the thing to it. So I mean, I get it, but I think it's a hard thing sometimes when there's so many different people that work on each kind of game overall.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I guess you're still giving money to the company. But I mean,
Not
yeah.
much you can do. Well, there is much you can do.
Could
You can be the single person saying no, Kudro.
throw, what
I
is
won't
it?
give you the money.
We've got to throw our body up on the machine, up on the wheels, up on all the apparatus to make it stop. I guess.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, if everyone just all of a sudden decided to just stop buying Blizzard products because Blizzard is a crappy company, then hey, you know what? Blizzard would change their ways really quickly, but nobody does. So
Anything's possible. I mean, people convinced a bunch of people to buy GameStop stock, so like,
I mean, you're not wrong.
it's possible.
Yeah. So on to the Diablo we are here today to talk about. Diablo 1, ranking of loot grind RPGs. So we can get that ready.
Mm.
All right. You guys ready?
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
We'll go into this here. This is part 2 of ranking of loot grind RPGs, Diablo 1. Some might say the original loot grind RPG, or at least the one who really popularized this format. So Diablo, released December 31st, 1996, is a action RPG that it's an action RPG, but I would say it's kind of in the advent of the loot grind RPG. It was massively popular. And it kind of defined my early experiences with loot grind RPGs. So, yeah, Quinn's looking at me weird. Is it not 1996? I thought it was December 31st. I mean,
I thought it was January 3rd, 1997 was what I found.
Did it? Maybe okay. Maybe it got like delayed from the 31st and then became.
I mean, according to Google, Colton's right. Its initial release date is December 31st, 1996.
Kind of weird to call it a 1996 game though, if it came out like 3 hours before the next year.
Huh.
Yeah, Quinn, I don't know. There might have been some weird stuff with dates and how that came out.
I need to double my sources, I guess. Cross reference.
Yeah, so where can we start with Diablo? I guess we can start with the story and kind of how the game works. So, the premise of Diablo is you're in Tristram and you select a class. Like you're either, and it's only got three classes, so rogue, warrior, sorcerer. And then you're tasked with going down into this dungeon below the church in the town of Tristram. And then you go through, it's 16 floors, and then the final boss at the end is Diablo himself. So I guess what did you guys think about the story of Diablo?
I think for its time, it's probably as good as it's gonna get. I mean, and
Mm,
it's a solid for I guess the mechanics of the game, right? Of just going down one level at a time. What can you really do?
Oh yeah,
Is what
like
I'm thinking about.
there's yeah, outside of games that were very much storytelling, I guess it's an action game, and how much storytelling was there in action games at the time? Yeah, I guess
I guess because the thing is, like, you don't really get a lot of story in the game at all. I mean, the
no.
game, like at the end of every like what do you I don't want to call them levels. Like at the end of like every third or fourth floor, when you're getting ready to go into a new area, you'll always find a book that gives you a little bit of background information of what's going on.
Mhm.
Because it does talk about the Sin War. It does talk about how the lesser evils ousted uh, the prime evils, which and then that's why Diablo is now on Earth, in Sanctuary, and then causing all of this ruckus in the cathedral.
I
But
guess we should say Diablo is a prime evil, and he is the Lord of Terror.
yes,
Just
so yeah, but you don't really see. Yeah, but Diablo is the only one you see, and the other evils are only alluded to. And
right.
you don't see them until Diablos 2 and 3.
Mhm.
Um,
But yeah, I don't
And
know.
no,
I feel like for what was going on, like you don't get a lot of context in the game.
yeah, and I don't. I wouldn't come to Diablo looking for a story if that's what you want. Like it's not about the story at all, I don't think. It's more the I would say more than the story, it's the atmosphere and context of it. Like the it's very dark and demonic. Um and the enemies you fight and like just the different kind of layers you go through. Like you go through the dungeon below, then you go into the catacombs, then you go into caves, then you go into hell. Like I think it's actually more the visual like atmosphere of the game and what that sets up. That's kind of the cool thing about it.
right. I was gonna say by virtue of being kind of a grinding, looting game, if you are going to keep playing it, there's only so much story you can, obviously show for. I mean, similar to like Monster Hunter,
Right.
we
Yeah.
completed the story pretty fast, but then you still have added, there's added quests, but it doesn't pertain to the formal story of the game.
Yeah.
So, um, to me, I never played it when it came out. Obviously, too I'm too young, but
Honestly,
I
that might
think.
be fine because honestly, this playthrough kind of ruined my nostalgia for it.
But what I'm kind of gathering is because of how the times that it was created in, they were going for a certain feel and a certain, I don't know, unique
Well,
playing
yeah.
of
I
it,
mean,
right?
yeah, I think if we're looking at it at the time, it was amazing in a lot of ways. But to consider it now, we're like considering it against what's happened over the last 25 years. Um, yeah, there's a lot of things that when I played this game in the 90s did not stick out to me like when I played this now. Um, Not to say that I still didn't have some fun with it. Um, but yeah, so that's the story. So layout is 4 floors of each type, and obviously enemies get progressively harder. And it's a very straightforward game. There's not a lot of complex systems, I wouldn't say. It's basically just you have a level, you get points when you level up, and you pick up better and better gear. And I would say that's the coolest thing about this game is the gear drops and upgrading your gear, and also the most important thing to progression. It feels like.
Yeah, that and leveling up, obviously, because you get to pick which stats you boost depending on your um, character type, right? So
Mhm.
rogue was you were aiming usually more for dexterity and probably strength. Mage, or is it sorcerer? Sorry,
It's
Sorcerer,
sorcerer.
magic.
sorcerer. More for magic, yeah, and then Colton was the tank, so lots of strength and
Yeah.
I
Right.
still
So
cannot believe I could not find a Book of Mana Shield, even by the time we beat the game. That was
right.
ridiculous.
So I guess next we can let's talk about the mechanics of this game, mechanics and kind of a systems layout. So I think this is where the game really fails modern day is when you start to get into the systems of the game and the combat mechanics. Now we can talk. Let's start with when you. So in Diablo, there is you can turn player friendly on or player friendly off. So if you have player friendly off, you wouldn't think that you could hurt your teammates. However, I think it's a glitch that's just they were never able to fix is that ranged attacks will hurt your teammates. Um, and with the controls are what do I want to say? It's like a what is it that makes those controls so clunky? It's like that it's like only 8 directional maybe. So you have a very hard time moving from room to room, and you'll a lot of times when you're playing in this game, if you've played modern isometric games, you'll be trying to click on shit that's and your character is not walking through. And as I played over the 25, 30 hours, I got better at dealing with the intricacies of the Diablo movement system. But definitely when we started, I was like, why isn't this working? Why isn't this working? I think I'm clicking on the stairway, but you have to like click on the exact certain spot or else you like won't go down there and I'll just stand there and continue to get hit. Um so I think there's like a big clunkiness to the movement controls and a big clunkiness to like the way you can't like you can block your teammates from coming through a door. So a lot of times you end up just blocking your teammates into getting hit, and there's just you can't see your teammates' health bars. There's a spell in the game, spell of heal other, but you can't actually see the health bars of your teammates. So they would have to literally tell you to heal them.
Well, with the way the potion systems in the game work, like I feel like heal other is a pretty useless
Oh,
spell anyway.
oh, sure,
So,
yeah, that's true. And then you can't stack potions either, so you just have to have a billion potions in your inventory.
yep,
Um,
yep.
yeah, I would say mechanics wise, since I was playing a rogue using a bow most of the time, having to constantly click to attack was
oh yeah, yeah.
kind of annoying because I don't know. I can see it with a melee weapon because you have a little more control, but
It still kind of sucks. You still got to like
a lovely
rapidly
bit,
click, and I wish I could just hold sometimes.
right?
Yeah,
Like you can
yep.
hold the move, but you can't hold to attack, which was annoying. But
Mhm.
um, in terms of attacking, I thought it was as good as it was going to get. I liked how they had that you could fire in direction, like without
Oh
needing
yeah,
to hit an enemy.
yep.
So you could take advantage of some enemies where their attack wouldn't hit you, but you could still be in range of them, so you could attack them while they're missing you, which was nice sometimes. But yeah, like you said, the clunkiness of walking around took time to get used to for sure. Especially the doorways, like you said. Especially if there were certain times where we would all be trying to pile into one room because there's just a shit ton of enemies in there, but we just couldn't get through because either someone was stuck on one side or
Right.
I started shooting someone, or I don't know. There's just, I would say it's more like quality of life type things
Right.
that were the issue rather than mechanics. But
Yeah.
Yeah, as we mentioned numerous times during the gameplay, or at least I did, this is one of the most inconvenient games I have played in a while.
Yeah. And I like I like games that are like I don't know what the word is, but like challenging in a way, or like I don't mind the inventory space thing in some cases. Um
Oh, inventory Tetris drove me nuts.
Now, what I didn't like in this one is that you can't get any other storage besides your inventory. But uh yeah, and I guess for me, like along with that of like our issues with the convenience things, I felt like there's some stuff off with the balancing, which I don't remember that playing it before, but like I feel like there's some clear like weird things with the balancing. And it to me it's like the differences from floor to floor can be weirdly vast, and the way that hits work in that game, you can run into situations where on one floor you're doing fine, you're competing with the monsters and you're fighting them and getting hits on them, to where you go to the next floor and you cannot hit them. And basically, a few of them are just hitting you so much that you don't even have a chance to swing because they just stun lock you over and over again. And I feel like you just get into these situations where you get grouped up on by enemies and get like stun locked, and it's
right,
like that felt weird and outdated to me, the way it like worked. You had to like cheese around it. You had to like play a certain style to avoid that, which I don't remember feeling like that in Diablo 3 and Diablo 2, but I don't know, we'll see when we play Diablo 2. I Yeah, did that bother you guys at all, any of the
um,
See, the only time I can think of that happened to me was when I was fighting Hell Knights. Like,
well,
Hell Knights were the bane of my
I
existence.
guess you guys were playing ranged, right, too, predominantly.
Yeah, so
yeah,
we
Okay.
probably should have mentioned this at the beginning, but I was playing the Sorcerer. Quinn was playing the Rogue, which he already mentioned, and Colton, you were playing the Warrior.
right. I did. I do kind of notice what you're talking about, Colton. It almost kind of makes me think of like the way they developed the game was they set like an algorithm for how many
Yeah.
enemies spawn, and they're very liberal with it.
Well,
So
and then
like,
like
I
yeah.
don't know.
Then the
Yeah,
special monsters, do they have it, the elite monsters? My god, they were so strong. You could dominate a whole floor, and then just this elite monster with his pack just comes and you're get the fuck out of there. Cause the other thing that happened to me once was I got killed by a pack of elite monsters, and it took me like a half hour to get my stuff back. Because in Diablo, when you get killed, you drop all your stuff on the ground. So the big problem is if you drop all your stuff on the ground and you can't go back to get it and you lose all your gear, I, gear is so important in this game. Like what I realized is my gear was much more important than my leveling up. Like getting the next piece of strong gear, like getting my armor class up was so important. It seemed to be like the primary thing.
but could there be an argument that that's supposed to be a mechanic of the game
Oh yeah, no, I it might be. I'm just
to make
saying in
you dungeon down further to
yeah,
get your stuff back
yeah,
and
and that's
start from
cool.
the
But
beginning?
what I'm saying is in the cases then where you drop your gear because you like you're it's like a place you're totally fine in until you get like the RNG of this really strong elite monster showing up and you literally can't hit him. And then, you get surrounded by a pack and then you take it down. Um
Gotcha, gotcha. So it's more
and
of
then
like a supreme increase in difficulty
yeah,
that
and that's
is not favorable.
and maybe somebody who likes it would say that's just how hardcore Diablo is. Stop being such a, you
Yeah,
know,
good, you scrub.
right. And in some ways, I don't I don't know. It's a thing where like I like some of it, but that part's just kind of like, okay, so what the hell do I do now?
Right.
See, but that was weird though, because it's like sometimes you died and you dropped your stuff. Other times you
Yeah,
did and
right.
didn't.
Later in the
So
game, we were playing, and you guys weren't dropping your stuff. So I don't know if that was a glitch there where you weren't dropping your stuff.
It's probably a bug.
But
I don't know. It might be a bug. I could see it being a bug one way or the other, but I don't know for sure.
um, yeah. Other Diablo thoughts?
I kind of want to talk about the town portals
Oh
because I feel
yeah.
like that was a very big part of the game, and I'm still not sure on how I feel about them because I
Uh,
think they made the game so much more easier than it would have been without them.
oh yeah.
But it also felt kind of like too easy at sometimes. I was like, oh, yeah, we can
Oh,
just leave and come back real
like
fast.
where you
And I'm
can
like,
just
well,
portal
that's
out
nice.
in the middle
Yeah,
of a fight.
right.
Yeah.
Well, not even that, but like you could fight a wave of enemies, and then you realize you're out of potions, and you'd be like, okay, don't attract any more enemies. Don't get anybody else, excuse me, to come over here, and we can just portal, go repair our items, heal up, grab more potions, and come back and start again. To me, that like it almost felt a little too easy.
Yeah.
Like a better mechanic maybe would have been like, oh, you have to go a little further to try and find, oh, there's like a teleportation door here,
Mhm.
teleportation door over here, rather than being able to summon one yourself. But they were definitely very helpful. So I don't know. That's just kind of how I felt. I I enjoyed using them because they were
Yeah.
very helpful, like I said. But
I feel
I
like
don't
I
know.
could. I'm thinking about this in terms of some other games that I played, and I could see your argument. Like, if the game was designed in such a way that, like God, I no, I don't want to use that example, but it's almost like like the game is designed in a certain way. Like you're allowed this much healing, that's designed to go this much, to cover this much space before you reach
Right.
the next checkpoint.
Mhm.
But with this kind of being what it is, because I mean, like the town portals were definitely useful, but I feel like they by no means necessarily allowed you to escape everything. Because I
Right.
mean, just as what Colton pointed out, I mean, there were times where we definitely got caught off guard and just died with no
Well,
opportunities to
I
use the
mean,
portals at all.
and let's be honest, the hardest thing about Diablo 1 is trying to do things while things are attacking you, like change spells or get into your inventory and cast a town portal.
Right. And you can't use escape to get rid of anything.
Yeah, some of the most annoying things, like particularly playing a sorcerer, because you're relying so much on spells. But then there are times where you're sitting here and you're fighting two groups of enemies. One group of enemy is immune to lightning, and then
Mhm.
the other group of enemy is immune to fire. So it's like then you got to use lightning to clear one group of enemies, and then hurry up, switch to fire so you can eliminate the others. It's like really annoying.
Yeah. I think back to the town portal. I Now that you're saying more, I did think made me think about if you do use one to escape within a fight, you're gonna have to deal with all those enemies right away when you come back. So it kind of puts you at a pretty big disadvantage of you can use it to get away so you don't die, but you
Mhm.
still have the consequences of that when you come back
Yeah.
instantaneously. So
Yeah, and I think the other point I would bring up too, though, is like with as much loot as it seems like you're constantly pulling to, I mean, like there are some times where it's like after only one encounter, I may still have potions left, but I have all this stuff that I either got to go identify or sell. So, but then of course, though, the loot seems inconsistent too, because there are some times where it's like after a couple of encounters, my inventory's stocked up, and then there are times it feels like I can clear an entire level and not and get very little gear.
Yeah.
yeah,
That's by nature though, right? I mean, I think that's a common loot grind thing.
I expected rarities to change though, which they really didn't, in
Right.
my opinion. You
The
still
Yeah.
got a
funny,
cap on level 16. You're still getting caps that have 3 armor. I'm like, well, why did I come down here?
Funny enough, the only time I think I got like the legendaries, like the gold equipment, was when I was playing by myself.
Hmm.
I ended up getting 3 different gold items in like a single playthrough when I was playing the game by myself for a bit.
Oh, wow.
Maybe there's modifiers for groups of 2 and 3.
Maybe I have no idea, but that was the only time I encountered it, and I was kind of surprised because I kind of forgot they existed for a minute.
So, I guess despite these issues with the game, still, I kind of still had like that like loot grind like addiction a little bit, like where I was fighting things and getting gear, and I'm like, I gotta, and I couldn't beat them, so I got some other gear, and then I could beat them, and it was like that. The cycle was still working a little bit in this game, despite all that stuff. Like, and honestly, like playing solo, I think at this point for Diablo works better. But which kind of sucks because Diablo is a fun game to play multiplayer. The Diablo 3, but it's I still had some fun with that system. Like it still does hold up in some ways for me.
Mm.
Um but I don't think I'll go back and play the higher difficulties of this. I think I'd rather play Diablo 2 and Diablo 3. Um but I think looking at this from a historical perspective when it came out, when I played this in the 1990, I probably played it in like 98, maybe 97, but uh, it was so cool at that time and so different. And it's a lot of these things that, I'm saying it doesn't hold up today are things that people improved upon after playing this game and designing similar genre games. I think a lot you can credit a lot of like the item rarity stuff back to Diablo in a way. Um, but
Right. It was like a
so
good starting point.
yeah, I think if you really like loot grind RPGs, Diablo 1 playing like solo is like a cool like historical experience if you're somebody who really likes loot grind RPGs to go back and play Diablo 1. Um I would recommend doing it solo. It just the some of the
Some of the quirks of
inconveniences.
multiplayer are frustrating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you want to play multiplayer, you have to download some shady VPN. So
Yeah, I feel like that alone too is like it's a bit of a hassle to play Diablo 1 multiplayer nowadays.
Yeah. Um yeah, any more final thoughts or should we rank it?
I think we can rank it. I guess one more thing. I think there should be similar to healing to get your mana back in the town. I think there
Oh
should
yeah.
be somewhere where you can go fill up on mana
Yeah.
instead of having to
Add
buy
that
potions.
add that to
Yeah,
Adria so you can walk really far to get there.
yeah, I
Right.
was really expecting Adria to do that the first time I went to talk to her, but she doesn't. It's kind of
It's the
disappointing.
sorcerer attacks.
I guess so. So
Mm.
every time I went to town as a sorcerer with no mana, it was like a tax. I'd always have to spend an extra 150 on potions just to get a full mana potion.
So Kudro, did you want to set the ground floor of this one for us? Because I'm pretty sure that's what's gonna happen.
All right, let's see here. I mean, I don't hate this game. I know I've probably sounded a little bit down on it. It's just that the game is very inconvenient. There are things that drove me nuts about it. So I mean I would even detract a little bit from your point. Like I don't think this game is worth playing, even if you are a loot grind RPG fan. I feel like the only reason this game would be worthwhile is if you're like a Diablo super fan
Mhm.
and you want to experience everything that the franchise has to offer.
Okay.
I feel like because I mean, as far as loot, like grindy games like this, where you're always just clearing levels, defeating enemies for just better and better loot. I think there are much better options out there. As I said, I think it's a D for me. I don't think this game is worth playing in 2022. It's yeah. I feel like this game can be passed over pretty easily.
Okay.
We all know why he ranked it so low, because it's made by Blizzard. Don't give them their $10.
This was
okay.
was
If I was
saying.
okay, if I was basing it solely on my feelings about Blizzard, this game would be an F. But as far as the game itself, I think this is a D. Just skip it in 2022. It's not worth going back to it.
I think that's a fair statement.
Yeah. Should I go next?
If you want, sure.
Yeah, I'll go next, I guess. I'm gonna go with a D plus. I think I did have some of that excitement to like want to keep going back in and grinding for that new loot and money and seeing what I could find, because I don't think I found everything by any means. So there's definitely, you can put a lot of time into this game for sure.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think it's a good base for loot grinding, RPGs. Like it started it well. Inventory system kind of shit. Mechanics all right, but yeah, like Kudro said, I wouldn't waste your money on it. I think there's other Diablos that you can get the same experience with a better, or not same experience, the same, I guess, not gameplay, but like, I don't know. You know
You
what I'm
can, if you
talking
play
about?
the other Diablos, you'll get a better experience.
Right, a
Give your
better
money
experience,
there.
but you'll still get the same. You get same but more with other Diablos, I think. And yeah, I mean, for $10, it's not too bad, honestly. But
Just
it
remember
still
though,
sound like a milkshake or something instead of Diablo.
Well, I think it's more the time spent, right? Like if you want to spend
yeah,
time playing it.
Yeah.
I think that Diablo, I think it's amazing for what it created, like in terms of this genre, games like this. But I do agree with you guys in that so many of those mechanics have been improved upon so much in the last 25 years that going back and playing it now, you could easily say, yeah, this should be passed over. You don't need to play it. And I would agree, you don't need to play it. I still think if you're really into a lot of loot grind RPGs, it is an interesting, like, it was really interesting for me going back to it because I haven't played it in so long, and just kind of playing it and seeing that, like, the dawn of these type of games, and that it's a really interesting, like, historical experiment to do. But I'm not saying it's going to be a game you're going to be like, oh, this is amazing, but it's just an interesting historical experiment. I'm torn between C and D plus. Um, I, I think I have to give it a D plus based on if the multiplayer inconveniences were cleaned up a little bit, I think I could comfortably go C. Like if you didn't damage your teammates when you shot them, at least, like, it just, so much of it now doesn't hold up. Though I still think it's a very important game historically for loot grind RPGs. The most, well, maybe Fantasy Star, but we'll talk.
that's just your
personal
bias, Colton.
So I think I'll go D plus as well for this. So let's pull out the overall list.
I had a quick question, Colton. Since,
Yeah, what's up?
You played this originally in whatever 1990, whatever.
Uh-huh.
You remember where you picked up your copy from?
Dude, I want to say it was like Best Buy.
Okay.
Or Staples, but I remember, like,
Staples.
I don't know how I was allowed to play this game. Like, I don't remember how I, like, decided to get this game. I don't know if I saw it and thought it was cool, but I just got the game. Nobody questioned anybody at the checkout when this like 8-year-old or 9-year-old was, getting a copy of Diablo. I remember when I played this game, I was like 8 or 9, and I saw the butcher, and I was like, "That is terrifying." I ran away from the butcher. I remember because that's the first boss you run into. So I just I'm playing, killing skeletons. You open this door, and this butcher comes out, and I was like terrified, and I ran away. I got such a high level before I fought the butcher. I was so scared of fighting the butcher.
Yeah, your experience sounds very similar to mine when I first played it, though. And my brother had this game, and that was how I played it. But I was still like 8 or 9 when I first played this game.
Yeah.
So I was playing a rogue the first time I played it. So I ended up getting leveling up at a few more floors when I first after I encountered the butcher, and then I just started running around the room that he's in and just shooting him with arrows. Never once letting him get close.
Yeah, I credit this game with starting my love of RPGs in general, I think, and loot games. I mean, I guess I played some Final Fantasy VI on the Super Nintendo, but really in this online multiplayer loot games, this is the first time I ever played anything like that, and it was amazing.
Right.
So
Did it
anyway,
radicalize you though?
Diablo's the devil. Because it works there. All right, so now the question is, does Diablo go into the D tier, or do we say, in terms of loot grind RPGs, Diablo deserves a bump for its historical relevance and it becomes a C in the loot grind tiers?
No, Colton, it
That's a
does
big
not.
qualifier from Colton there.
All right, so we're rating them as they stand in the
Yep.
modern day. I think we all feel Diablo should go in the D tier.
Colton, I swear I remember in episode 0, you specifically stated that we reserve the right to rank games based on current day standards.
Right,
I
reserve
feel
the
like you're
right.
backtracking on that a
No,
little bit right now.
I do think we reserve the right, but we also reserve the right to say Diablo is just a really cool idea and it deserves a lot.
So what I'm hearing is that we reserve the right to apply one standard or the other whenever it fancies us.
Yeah, that's how this show works. It's a ranking show.
I mean, at least you're honest.
Colton's gonna be the first one at the Diablo exhibit at the Natural History Museum when it comes out.
I guess so.
No, there's people that are way more hardcore about Diablo than me. Yeah. I mean, the Diablo 2 still has just a wild following, but anyways, Diablo is in the D tier for ranking of loot grind RPGs. See the entire list at srankmedia.com. All right. So, as I was saying, yeah, Diablo 2, I think it still does, for the longest time had a big following.
I'd say I think with Resurrected probably gained a lot more traction and followers again.
Oh yeah, Resurrected, right? So should we talk about our next game now? We're gonna do another loot grind RPG.
We're not doing Wizards.
Oh, are we doing Deep Rock Galactic, or are we not doing Deep Rock Galactic?
I don't remember what we settled on.
Oh. Well, I think our next two games are going to be Wizard of Legend and Deep Rock Galactic. I just don't know which one we're doing first.
I think we can do Deep Rock Galactic first.
Deep Rock Galactic is our next game. Another loot grind RPG
with dwarves, right? Dwarves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess Quinn, let me text our other Cage member.
I could do a quick Steam review of the week.
Oh yeah, you got one? Sweet.
Yeah. Let's get a Steam review of the week. I probably should be keeping track of which games we've done so far, so I don't double up. But
it would be pretty funny if you did another one and couldn't get it.
Right. So this game, I'm not going to give you the type of game because I think it would give it away too easily.
All right, so Kudro,
Um,
it's a game that there's only a few in the genre.
Not
I guess.
necessarily.
It's a metal band.
No, Metal Band.
Brutal Legend.
But yeah, it's a pretty popular game though. I'll let you guys know that. But we can start with the first review here. And this person recommends it with 68,719 hours on
No.
record. Yeah.
Well,
There's
this
no
is
way.
this is an
He said-
idle game.
He said, I only played it for a little bit. It's
Idle
okay,
game.
I guess.
68,000. This is
68,000 hours.
I only played it for a little bit.
It's
an idle game, Kudro. Has to be.
Well, like is it just like a game you just keep running?
Yeah, basically. You wouldn't like them. I don't really like them either.
There's only one game of
a Steam
this
game.
type that I can think of that I've
It's not a
seen
mobile
someone
app.
play. What's it called? Cookie Clicker or something like that?
That's like a Flash game, isn't it?
That's the only thing I can think of. So I'm just gonna go with that.
All right, we got Kudro's answer. What about you, Colton?
Dude, that's like 8 years. All right, Kudro, this game's at least 8 years old. Oh, we have to guess off that.
Yeah.
What wallpaper the wallpaper you make a
Wallpaper engine.
Yeah, wallpaper engine.
Okay, yeah, I'll give that to you. You're both incorrect.
That doesn't surprise me in the slightest.
All right, next review. They recommend the game with 834 hours on record. This game taught me about the diversity of cultures that our small little corner of the universe offers. Then it taught me to hate them all. And I believe this is in reference to the player base, so who they're playing with.
Okay.
Not the actual
I don't
game.
know though if it's like an interstellar game, like what would that be, like faster than light, maybe? I feel like I've heard a lot of people spending a bunch of time with that game.
EVE Online.
Is that your
That's my answer.
Okay.
EVE Online.
No, I mean I already said it, faster than light. So
Oh, that's your lock in. Okay.
I guess
you're both incorrect.
fair enough.
Okay, last one. So I'm gonna give you the last one. If you guys can't get it after this last one, I'll give you the type of game, and then I'm sure you'll be able to get it.
Hand on the buzzer.
At least I hope so.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Don't underestimate my capacity for failure.
Last review. They recommend the game with 1,392 hours. When Bloodseeker gets above a certain move speed, he should make race car noises.
What?
Dota 2. He didn't want to say it was a MOBA because it's Dota 2.
I have no freaking clue.
You can just answer
I need
with
an answer.
You're gonna lose, Kudro.
I don't know. I mean, you sound so sure of that, but like MOBAs are types of games that you play. I don't play MOBAs. So
I've never played Dota 2, so
I mean I have no freaking clue. Could you repeat that?
This is embarrassing for you. This is really embarrassing.
Bloodseeker gets above a certain move speed, he should make race car noises.
Maybe it's not Dota 2. Maybe it's Dota 1.
That's a good counter right there, because that would be my second best guess. I don't even know. Can you still play Dota 1 on Steam? Or
is that your answer, Kudro?
Absolutely, because I don't have a better one.
All right. It is Dota 2. So Colton wins.
Yes.
There's only a handful of MOBAs, so it's tough.
I can't help but feel like the last two you've done, you have catered to Colton's taste.
Whoa,
I don't know what games you guys play.
I've never played Dota 2. I've played Heroes of the Storm and League of Legends and the
With how
Pokemon
quickly
MOBA.
you knew about that, with how quickly you were just
Well,
Dota
okay,
2, though, you
'cause it
definitely know
oh,
about
okay.
Dota 2.
No, here's what I didn't know if that character was Dota 2, but here's how I got there, because he said Heat Seeker should get move speed, and I'm like, "Okay, what is that?" But it's also a game that people put thousands of hours in, and it's multiplayer, and they also said they hate people because of it, which is like, that's I mean, I it all led to Dota 2. That was
Toxicity. Yeah. Well, the problem is I feel like I have a certain like sphere of games that I like am knowledgeable about, whereas your guys is like insanely different than what I play. So it's tough to
That
find. I'm trying to pick like the most popular because essentially what I do is I take the most popular games and I kind of scroll through and trying to find, you know, a good game that I think would be good. But
right.
Kujo's gonna start studying.
I'm just giving you a hard time, Quinn.
Anyways, I'm at 4 and Kujo's at 2, so really taking a big lead here.
but but yeah, you said 8 years on Dota 2?
That's what it said. That's fucking crazy.
Well, I do know that Dota 2 is like in terms of esports own
Esports.
esports earnings, it's like the top like
Yeah,
esports earnings. Dota 2 is like the top 100 players within esports that have like the highest earnings.
Could we get a segment like esports minute where we get like a clock for one of us to talk about esports for a solid minute? Like just we'll call it
that. Follow esports.
We only got to talk about it. Well, Kudra, you could become the esports correspondent.
Esports. I do. I watch Valorant, and then Rocket League.
I've watched some League stuff before. I like watching League. I tried to watch Overwatch back when I played it a lot, but I just can't. I don't. I also have like same with Counter-Strike. Like first person shooters, I have never been able to like watch as a spectator, and like MOBAs I think can be interesting to watch. Right. But I don't know. Especially Overwatch though. Counter-Strike a little bit better, but like watching Overwatch just was not enjoyable. Even when I played it a ton and was very familiar with it.
I feel like with first person shooters though, it's tough to watch because you can't see everything that's happening at once. You have to see it through the person's point of view. Mm-hmm. And then most of the time it's the caster picking the view that you're watching. So they might miss something or choose wrong or something like that. And then especially at the top levels, especially like Overwatch, where all these abilities are happening and it's just so hectic that the average viewer can't keep track of everything that's happening. It just looks like a jumbled mess, at least in my opinion. So anyway, to bring Josh
I feel like the games that can be the most fun to watch might actually be fighting games, actually.
Yeah, I definitely one of the longest kind of Street Fighter, fighting games, Counter-Strike. Right. Those have both been going for a long time.
I was talking specifically like if you're like Street Fighter, Tekken. I know DOA is still really big in a lot of places. I mean, I guess I could throw Smash Brothers in there too, but yeah, those I feel like those can be kind of fun to watch, but that's about it. At least for me, anyway.
Not Formula 1.
Is there a professional scene for Formula? I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if there is, but...
Oh gosh,
get back. Well, for the like the E League for Formula 1 is like almost as big as like the regular Formula 1. Like teams sign specific players and then or racers, I should say.
I do wonder if that would be more entertaining to watch than NASCAR. At the very least,
I don't know. It's very
depends
much
on the racetrack. To me,
there's also not a lot. Like I feel like from what I've seen of F1, there's like not a lot of passing. It's very much like we have the fastest car and we're just gonna stay it.
Yeah, that's what it depends on the racetrack because there's certain racetracks where overtaking is literally impossible. Like in Monaco, where there's so many turns, it's like there's no way for you to overtake another race car because there's no point where you can gain enough speed to to pass them. Whereas there's some racetracks where there's lots of straightaways and less curves, so it gives you more time to turn or to overtake.
I would argue that F1 Drive to Survive is actually the interesting thing to watch.
That's what I would say. That really boosted their numbers. So if you want to watch
Right.
that, Kudrow, I would recommend it. It's a good show to watch on Netflix.
Well, what was the name of it again? Drive to
F1
Survive.
Drive to Survive. Yeah, it's on Netflix.
Yeah. It highly dramatizes it though, so take it with a grain of salt.
It's some like, if you're still watching reality TV, it's some high tier reality TV.
I can't believe that exists.
Worth billions of dollars.
Ranking of reality TV.
No. I will leave this show right now if we're doing that.
This week, catching up with the Kardashians. Or keeping up with the Kardashians.
So, while Josh is getting prepared here, so NVIDIA graphics card, so the 4090.
It's a beast.
Yeah, the numbers they put out, they said it was like way better, but then the numbers they put out looked like it was like slightly better, which is good.
Yeah, I saw an article that it was more about the 4080. It was like the 4080 numbers don't make sense or something like that. But I didn't read it, so I don't know. Was there something happening with the 4080?
The fact that people are saying like it looks more like a 4070, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but
it really got me thinking about selling my PC that I have right now and building a new one with a 30 series. So
I mean the 30s are pretty nice.
Yeah, I was building one last night on PC Part Picker, so you never know.
I think not like an upgrading to 4K. So I had gotten a 3080 Ti and then eventually upgraded to a 4K monitor, and it's 4K with games that can support it is awesome. It's a lot of fun. Not necessary, but fun. Anyways, looks like we got Josh here. Hey, Josh.
Hey guys, what's up?
How's it going? Yep.
Good.
Very dark over there, Josh.
Yeah, it's 7:16 at night, so it is almost nighttime. The sun is going down, so. What have I got? I don't have any lights here.
It's all right. You're just the man in the dark.
Feels nice. I kind of like being in the dark. Yeah.
That's fair. Right. I mean, I know I got this light shining in my face right now, and I know that's not particularly comfortable, but
yeah, I got two lights shining on me right now.
The things we do for production value.
So I guess we can go into our ranking of Cage here. I actually need to figure out what number this is. I always forget to write this down.
I want to say 9.
It's 9. You are correct. All right. This is Ranking of Cage Part 9, Raising Arizona. I'm Colton, joined by Quinn, Kudrow, and Josh. So, Raising Arizona from 1987. So, Raising Arizona opens with H.I. McDonough, or Hyde for short, played by Nicolas Cage, getting his mugshot taken by a police officer, and this police officer's name is Ed, and she is played by Holly Hunter. So after they have this interaction where Hyde gets his mugshot taken, Hyde then goes to prison. After a time, he meets with the parole board and is released. Following this, we see the same process repeat a couple times where Hyde robs more convenience stores, goes back, gets his photograph taken by Ed, the police officer, and then goes to jail. And then after a time meets with the parole board and they let him out. So over the course of this, he develops a crush on Ed. And after being released the third time, he proposes to Ed and they get married. So in the next phase, Hyde and Ed are living a happy life, and Hyde has a job at a factory. They're excited to have children, but eventually we find out that Ed cannot bear children. Then they try adoption, but Hyde has a criminal history. This inability to have children puts a depressing damper on their lives. But they see a news story about Nathan, Arizona, who is who is a well-known furniture chain salesman in the area. And the story is that they're having quintuplets, and there's a statement in there: "It might be more than we can handle." So Hyde and Ed go steal one of the 5 babies directly from the Arizona's house. They put a ladder on their car, drive there, literally take a baby from the house. After they arrive home with the baby, 2 of Hyde's friends from prison show up after breaking out. So they kind of just show up at his house. They're like, we just broke out of prison, and this is Gale, played by John Goodman, and Evil, played by William Forsythe. So Ed is clearly displeased with the idea of them being around, especially since they literally just broke out of prison, and this creates a tension between Hyde and Ed. So moving on from that, the next day, Ed's friends are visiting with their 5 children and barraging the new parents with advice and things they must do. To cap it off, the husband of the visiting couple suggests to Hyde that they become swingers, and Hyde reacts by punching him in the face. So after this, it kind of blows up the whole thing with the friends visiting. So on the way home, they stop at a convenience store. Hyde goes into the convenience store and robs the place. And this leads to a wild chase through backyards and through a superstore. Then eventually, Hyde ends up back in the car with Ed. So after they get back, Gale and Neville hatch a plan where they tell Ed they're going to do something together, but instead they steal the baby from Ed. And in the process, Ed fights with Gale in the house, and they destroy. Sorry, not Ed. Hyde fights with Gale in the house, and they destroy the whole interior of the house. And they tie up Hyde, and they leave with the baby. So, after this, we saw earlier in the movie, Hyde had a dream about this character called the Apocalypse Rider, who's like a guy on a motorcycle with like, he's all grungy and covered in like dirty leather, and he rides a Harley. And in the first dream scene, you don't know if he's real, but then we find out he is real. And the Apocalypse Rider is trying to hunt down the baby to make a profit off of either returning it to Nathan, Arizona, or selling it to somebody else if Nathan won't pay. So we have everybody trying to chase after this baby. It gets left on the roadway because Gale and Evil forget about it. So eventually we have Hyde and Ed almost to the baby, but then the Apocalypse Rider shows up at the same time. So it's a fight for the baby. It all converges to a massive fight scene with the Apocalypse Rider. In the end, the Apocalypse Rider is kicking the shit out of Hyde, but he pulls the pin out of one of the grenades on the jacket of the Apocalypse Rider. And then when he gets thrown to the ground, he turns up, you see the pin, and then you know that he has a grenade that's about to explode. So grenade explodes on the Apocalypse Rider. Then after they get the baby back, they actually return the baby to the Arizonas, because while they were chasing the baby down, Ed came to the realization that it was wrong to steal the baby in the first place, and they wanted to return it. So they return it, have a cute conversation with the Nathan, Arizona, and he's like, I'm not going to call the cops on you guys. And they tell him the whole story. Then it ends with Hyde has a dream where he sees the future. And he sees them with children and grandchildren in the future. And then we see that Gale and Evil just literally sneak back into prison the way they came out. They gave up on escaping and just went back to prison. So yeah, that is Raising Arizona. What did you guys think?
I thought it was funny at some parts, but they could have done without the biker dude.
The
Like,
Apocalypse Rider?
he served no purpose to me.
Well, he
Like,
served
it was like,
as the yeah.
well, like, to me, they were going for like the slapstick like comedy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they just threw in this weird like dream, like supernatural like ability that High has,
Yeah.
which includes the bike rider.
Right.
Where I think they could have just put law enforcement or like detective or something that wasn't like
I see what you're saying.
so way out there, because I think that took away from what they were going for.
I
Not that
gotcha.
what they were going for was the best, because I think what they did was very, very over the top.
Yeah.
And I think a great example is every single person's accent in the movie was just way, way over the top.
Did you
Um,
not did that like take away from it for you?
no, I mean, I think I got used to it,
Mhm.
and yeah, but I don't think it was as necessary as they were meaning to. Maybe
Mhm.
that was by design. I don't know. Because that's kind of the type of movie that I was. But
But
yeah,
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying, Quinn, because to me it also just felt like it was forced after so long. Where they're doing the whole movie and you're like however many 2 hours in and you're like, why are they talking like this still?
Like where they're yelling in the car.
Yeah.
Like it was funny like the first time, but then like the second or third time it
Right.
was
You're
kind of
like,
like
oh,
okay.
okay. Yeah, exactly.
To go back to the biker for a second, though, I actually did find the biker kind of hilarious in a very meta way because he's sitting here dreaming about this biker dude, and then like X number of years later goes on to play Ghost Rider, which I just immediately thought of when I
Oh
saw
right.
Leonard.
Oh
Yeah.
wow, yeah, I didn't
Yeah.
think about that,
I
yeah.
I thought it was interesting that the Ghost Rider was real because like it was a dream and then like it was just actually no, he's real. I thought that like I was like, wait, is this guy real? And then like he walks into the office.
I never thought he wasn't. Well, I shouldn't say I never thought, but for how long they lingered on the first like scene of him,
Mhm.
as soon as they lingered so long, I was like, okay, this guy's real for sure. Like he's gonna show up somehow, some way. Like they obviously put him in there for a reason.
Yeah.
They're spending a lot of time on him. He's gonna have a part in the movie, whether he's a dream or not. So, but I don't know. I see what they're going for. And I think there were some funny parts, like John Goodman's character and whatever the other guy's name was. They were pretty
Evil.
funny.
Yeah, Galen
Yeah.
Evil. I love how
The
they're
original
always
Shawshank. The original Shawshank.
I
That's immediately what I thought of when they burst out of the ground. I was like, oh, Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
actually
wow.
a good point.
the and like just I think my favorite thing is probably in a way the over the top characters, like the characters in the movie, like the Gale and Evil, like you're saying, like the way they're always just eating and it's just so disgusting the way they do everything and they're just always so dirty. And
Mhm.
I,
Right.
like with the scene where it cuts to him and they're like on the couch and there must be 40 beer cans and then it goes to the floor and there's just shit all over the floor.
Right.
I,
Cheese balls and beer
yeah,
cans and
right. And they
when they're eating
are
the cereal and
yeah.
But
Um
so much of that after a while it's just like, okay, we get it, like they're disgusting or whatever.
right.
For
Yeah, I
me,
think
I had a hard time getting into the movie over the whole duration of the movie because by the time that he was like running through the grocery store stealing stuff, I was like not even shocked by what was happening. I was like, whatever, okay. And I just kind of I had a hard time with this one. I don't know. It just didn't really grab my attention.
I gotcha.
yeah. I was gonna say I think the very first scenes were my favorite. I
Yeah.
don't necessarily think they drew me in, but just the way they were set up, it's this high guy, like that's his whole personality. He robs convenience stores. He has the urge to rob convenience stores, but he doesn't use bullets because he knows that if he uses bullets, he'll go to prison for too long.
Well, and just the fact that it's specifically convenience stores, like where he's like, I even started driving by the convenience stores. Like
Right,
it's just like it's like I think it's like the movie is a bunch of these amazing punchlines. Like with the it's like there were just parts where like
right,
that were played so well. Like the scene with the baby where it's like they all of a sudden they can't have a baby and it's like happiness then just drops into sadness. Like in the way a lot of the stuff reminds me of Wes Anderson movies. I think this probably predates a lot of those, but
Yeah, like like immediate reversals of fortune.
Yeah, and just
and like
the over the
fate.
top
Yeah,
characters,
right.
right. And the way everything's like framed, and then like right after they can't have a baby, like of course they try to adopt one, but then it's like, oh right, he's just a criminal. She like has a perfect record, and then his record is, so just the way it frames all this stuff, it's like it has really good like punchlines when they hit. But
Yeah. I think character design was one of the best
mhm.
aspects of the movie. They played into so many different caricatures, um, from Hyde to Ed to the furniture salesman who was like,
Yeah,
to me, he was a used car salesman that made it big or whatever, and then the
right.
convicts, even the
Yeah.
people at the bank, like,
Right. There was the
Mhm.
small characters even had a
right,
lot. Like the guy that works at the factory. It just
right,
like
they, and I think that's the Cohen brother. They did,
the
or
Coen
it's
brothers,
the
yeah.
Cohen brothers, right?
Yeah.
And they did
Mhm.
the Big Lebowski too, right?
Mhm.
So
Yep, they
I
did.
think,
Yeah. Yeah.
and so I kind of kept thinking about that too, and I think the Big Lebowski too is kind of a good example of good character, design, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, John Goodman's in there, and obviously, Jeff Bridges as well. So, but I thought the characters were really good in this movie. But
Yeah. The unpainted Arizona, unpainted furniture. Is that a thing from like the 80s and before? Cuz I was like, what is this? Was that I didn't know if that was a thing or if that was like part of a joke that I was missing.
That sounds like a scam.
Yeah, because if I wanted to like laugh at it, but then I'm like, wait, is this like a real thing that I just was unfamiliar with from the past? Um,
Not familiar to me.
Mhm.
um, so I think my biggest gripe with the movie is like the the way that they get themselves to the situations, like the way they get the baby, like the baby stealing thing. Like it's like because they do all this stuff and they can't have the baby, and then like, oh, they see this story and they're just like, let's go steal this baby, and they just drive with their put this ladder on top of their car, show up outside the house, just throw the ladder up. And that part was kind of almost like too outlandish. I'm like, you just walk up here and steal this baby, and then
Yeah, it
it,
was. I felt like. Oh, sorry. Keep going.
no, that's all right, go ahead.
I just felt like it's really tough because I feel like it was a. I feel like watching the movie, I was like, this is like a. I don't know. It feels like a good movie, like it should be good, but like I didn't like it.
Yeah.
It was like yeah, there was like witty stuff in it or whatever, but I was officially in this movie watching this one. I'm officially sick of this character that Nicolas Cage plays, where he's like this crazy person who's also a genius somehow, or like is crazy and or like really messed up some way, but like has some weird depth. I'm like officially sick of that. Like I'm like this movie. Like they were like, no, he's gonna be like a complete idiot, like a dumb criminal stealing babies and what. And I was just like, I was sick of it. I didn't buy it, and I knew
I,
it was like a great performance from him or whatever, but like I just didn't buy it from him. I didn't like it.
yeah, I think I liked the characters and just the one-off like parts enough that it carried most of it for me. Um, some of the chase scenes got a little wild.
I knew you
Um,
were gonna say. I knew you were gonna talk about this.
like
I,
it was funny they sent him through the different places and he goes to the store and then gets the what is like toilet paper from the store, like the second store he's running through.
oh, well, it
diapers.
was the diapers.
Diapers,
Yeah.
right? Diapers.
Yeah, I liked how proud he was when he was stealing the stuff from the convenience store with the pantyhose on his head. He was like, "Oh yeah, like I got these diapers, like I'm the hero." And then Ed's like, "What the fuck are you doing, like you idiot?" And he's like, "What did I do?" And he's like, "Oh, that's right. You're not supposed to rob shit." It's like, come on. But I think the beginning and the end of the movie were the best parts. The middle of the movie moved too
Yeah.
slow for me, and it didn't really do anything for me. Like I didn't want to
Yeah.
watch the middle of the movie.
I
I think that was a problem for me.
See,
For
it's
me-
kind of funny because like I had the opposite experience to some extent. Like I was not sucked into the beginning at all, and it really wasn't until the end where where like things just really start to get wacky that I actually started to find myself getting entertained by it.
You didn't like the beginning, Kudrow, where it like repeats the same process of him getting locked up and robbing convenience stores?
I mean, I mean, it was good character establishment, but maybe that's only because I was so depressed by how realistic it is.
I
The
just loved
recidivism of it, the
I
recidivism aspect of it,
I
the
like that part a
reoffenders.
lot. The like repetition there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
it's
I
like
mean,
it's like it's entertaining, like it's funny to watch, but
Like I just feel like it was like I loved so many individual scenes in it. Like where he's like, "You were right, I was wrong," and he's walking back and forth in the house, and every time he walks back and forth, he has a bigger gun. Like he's got like a pistol, and then he says, "You were right, I was wrong," and every time he comes back, and then he ends up with like a huge gun, like the third time. It's just
yeah.
stuff like that. I felt like those scenes were played so well. But I think you're right though in that the overall story doesn't live up to how much I like those scenes.
But like you're right, like all those little moments are the best parts about the movie, but at the end of the day they kind of come down to gimmicks, you know? Like it's kind of a thing they're doing that's really funny or like a
Yeah.
way something said
Right.
as opposed to being and the result like for me was like I just didn't feel invested. I was like, okay, whatever, like, you know. Now they're going to steal a baby, okay. Sure. Yeah. Yeah, no, it was great. I mean, it was clear. I could tell it was like a fun movie, but like, I don't know. Maybe I just watched it. Maybe today was just a bad day for me.
You just didn't want to have any fun today.
I just couldn't get into it today. Yeah, yeah.
I like the kids that they brought over. They were just
destroying
the
everything.
house
Yeah.
and like
yep.
shot him with the water gun. Wrote on the wall with I don't even know what that was, and then his dad throws like candy at him.
Yeah,
he's like all
right.
proud of that. It's like, oh yeah, child abuse. Yeah. It's like what?
Yeah, back to highlighting like the unintelligence of most of the characters in the movie, right? Like that's
Yeah.
it's yeah. Yeah, any other thoughts on this? Other scenes of note?
I don't know. It felt like schlock to me. It's the word that kept coming back to me.
Yeah. There really was no like smart character in the movie though.
Yeah.
Pretty much every character in the movie was like stupid. Even the cops chasing, like that was so outlandish. Like they're shooting everything. They're shooting inside of a
Oh right,
house.
they were just
Yeah.
Right. It's like the convenience store clerk, the boy, he's chasing him, shooting.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, that was absurd.
Yeah, I did appreciate all the places they went with the chase scene.
right.
Yeah.
Everybody in that movie was just portrayed as so stupid.
The bank robbery with what was this, Gail and
Oh, Gail and Evel, yeah, where they robbed the
Yeah.
bank and they all take it literally, and then the
the city.
Freeze.
Get
on the ground.
We're using code names, right? Yeah, using code names after using his real name.
My favorite was there was like, all right, count to 850 and then back down to 0. I'll be back to check in on you.
Yeah, I guess I'm okay with like the schlock as you call it. I'm okay with the gimmicks. I think I had fun with just these so many of the individual scenes, independent of like the overall plot line and its lack.
Yeah, I think because it's a comedy, and maybe it's due to the times of when it was made, we don't pay too much attention to the comedy because it's maybe not as funny as like a comedy would be today. I keep thinking about like Step Brothers. Like Step Brothers is a hilarious movie. I don't care about the plot, but there's all these individual scenes that like I can quote all the time that are just hilarious.
Right.
So, like I keep drawing comparisons to that where it's like yeah, it's a funny movie. I don't really care about the plot, and I still think it's a decent movie because of those individual scenes where it made me laugh.
Mhm.
So
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think that's a good analogy because there are a lot of movies like that. That's kind of what it felt like. It felt like a movie, like yeah, like from the early. Yeah, that's a great example. Like from a movie from the early 2000s. But this case, this was from what, 91, right?
87.
87. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was an enjoyable movie. Like if you're in the mood for it, kind of thing, right? It's not like I wouldn't say like across the board good movie by any means, but like it has its moments.
A good movie to watch it with a group if the group's never seen it before, I think.
right, maybe after a few drinks
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
But I'd say I feel like I almost wish we had watched this one as a group rather than Birdie.
Well,
I miss Birdie.
it's not how the dice rolls.
This just
Yeah,
shows me
but
that my movie watching experiences aren't actually rating the movies; it's rating the experience I had while watching it. Because I watched it with Colton and Kudrow, and it was Birdie's the best one I've seen so far. So
What?
I need to put Birdie as an A.
Oh my gosh.
No. But this was a weird movie. I'm like, how do I rank this though? Because I hear what you're saying, but like, it feels wrong of me to put it in the middle somewhere. Like, it feels like it was too smart. There was too much clever things they did for it just to be like a D or an E, like
Yeah.
just like an average movie. But like at the same time, I don't know. It like was it as good as just as a B or higher? I don't think so. I'm kind of leaning towards just putting it in the F. I'm just trying to put everything in F
What?
Well, that's
for
no fun.
myself.
Wow.
I just feel like it doesn't. I just feel like I need to retroactively re-examine these movies. I think most of them need to go down to F for me because I think I'm getting a. This is like my
If
samples.
everything's F,
If I,
then nothing's ranked down at all.
My sample's getting bigger though, right? So it's like at first you have like, and it's like no, they all kind of go down together, and then Ghost Rider's at the top, and that's it. So I don't know.
oh
what a
my
world of
gosh.
insanity.
Um,
Are we ranking then?
Yeah, what do you guys think
yeah,
about for the ranking?
let's go ahead and rank it. I think that it is a fun movie and I love all the gimmicks in it. I really love the gimmick scenes. I think it is a B movie. So I'm gonna give it a B. I think it deserves a B. I'm not saying I don't think it's a movie you should watch, but you should watch it one time. There's a lot of funny gimmicks in it. Good characters, worth watching one time for sure. Yeah, you should watch this movie.
How good was it for Nicolas Cage moments?
Nicolas Cage moments. Well, he punches the guy in the face. He goes on that crazy chase scene where he runs.
Yeah, he's got a couple
Um,
moments, but he's more so just like a weird character in the whole thing.
yeah, because he can't have too many crazy moments because he's supposed to be really unintelligent. So like
Yeah.
he
Right.
just has to play his.
He's an idiot.
My whole thing is that everybody's crazy in the movie, so like he fits in.
Right.
Everybody's stupid. Everybody's crazy. I didn't really notice him that much in the movie.
Mhm.
I was focused on everybody else. Not everybody else, but I wasn't focused on any one character necessarily. Like I said, I wasn't following it for the plot, so I didn't really care too much what happened to High and Ed. It was more of like, oh, there's a funny scene. There's a funny scene. Oh, he's robbing the convenience store again. The cops are they're chasing him through a residential house. They're shooting, like, I don't know. It's just the Hellfire guy or the motorcycle guy shows
Apocalypse
up.
Rider.
Right. He blows up. They try to rob the bank. There's just so many things that was like, I wasn't focused on Nicolas Cage too much in this movie as much as other movies, which maybe is a good thing. I don't know. But I'm kind of between a B and a C plus as well. But I think I'm going to go with a B. Because the more I talk about it, the more fun I remember the movie being. So I
It's
think
a
I have to go with
funny
B.
movie to talk about. You can talk like, God, the
Yeah, there's
obsession.
a lot of funny moments.
I love the obsession with convenience stores.
Right?
Yeah, it feels like a very Pomo movie, like a very like would have been very avant-garde in like 1991, like the mundane average
Right.
day at the convenience store.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if Shawshank Redemption took that from this movie. Because it's literally frame for frame what happens in Shawshank Redemption.
Well, Shawshank was a novel first, I think, right?
Yeah,
Oh.
Stephen King novel, I believe.
Okay.
And
So,
I think yeah.
So maybe they took it and adapted it to the screen first.
All right, Kudrow, what's your ranking on this one?
I don't know. I'm kind of in the same position as Quinn. I was a little
Yeah.
torn between a B and a C plus. Although I think I'm leaning more towards C plus, and the only reason I'm leaning that way is because, as I mentioned earlier, I was pretty uninvested in the beginning. This movie really wasn't sucking me in, but the latter half I thought made up for it. So I'm gonna go C plus.
That's weird. I loved the beginning. I absolutely loved the beginning of this movie. But
I was bored at the beginning.
Oh,
already.
really?
Yeah.
I can see why you could, because I think that was my initial thought was oh, I know where this is going. Like, he's already making eye contact with Ed. I know what's going to happen. I don't need to watch it. But then it kept going. I'm like, okay, this is actually pretty funny. He's doing it for a reason. He's not using ammo. The parole board's like, what the fuck are you doing, man?
Well, since you didn't use any live ammunition,
Right.
then they let him out.
Except that's not at all the way the law works.
Well,
Just
that's
FYI.
Well, yeah. All right, Josh. What terrible rating would you like to?
I really want to give it an F, but there's just too many. It's just schlock. It's
This
like
council will sanction you.
You have 3 Fs already. You don't have above.
Oh
you
my-
have Leaving Las Vegas at a B. That's your highest rating.
Oh my gosh.
All right,
Yeah.
I'll give this
B
one
and
a
below.
C. I'll give this one a C. Because I'll give this one a C for all the funny moments.
All right.
Sounds like peer pressure is making you change your ratings.
No, I didn't watch this one as closely as the other ones. It wouldn't be right for me to give it an F. It had a lot of great moments in it.
It kind of just looks like you're just out to hurt some of these movies for no reason.
I give it a C for John Goodman.
All right. Raising Arizona. So I would like to argue this should go above Leaving Las Vegas and Racing with the Moon, and I think this movie deserves to be in the B tier. It's got way more than those two movies.
I agree. I think it should be our highest rated.
Also,
so
we
far.
can take like 5 minutes here to review one or two other movies, as you guys suggested, to review the placements. But first, we got to place Raising Arizona here. So, what do you guys think?
I wouldn't argue against B. I'd be fine with it.
All right.
I think it's better than Leaving Las Vegas.
All right.
Yeah,
so
Leaving Las Vegas is the higher ranked movie for you, Josh.
I don't know. My rankings are all messy, so
okay.
I still wanted to put it in an F. So I don't know.
Gosh. So now do we want to talk about any of the other ones? Any revisits we should look at here briefly?
No, they all suck.
You guys were talking a lot about Birdie.
Birdie had a lot of moments with Matthew Modine in it, and Matthew Modine, or however you say his name.
So you rank that a D.
Birdie, yeah, This is actually looking pretty good. This is looking okay, I think.
All right, so we're all happy with Moonstruck being in the D tier, not the C tier.
Are we saying we should move up
movie.
Moonstruck? Because I will argue against that.
All right, I think maybe Birdie should go above The Boy in Blue.
I mean, I'd agree with that.
No.
No.
You said Birdie above Boy in Blue?
Yeah, that's all I see here.
No, Birdie sucks.
Boy in Blue sucks worse.
Dude, I don't know, man. Boy in Blue was a pretty legit movie. I think
Boy
it's better
in
than
Blue
Birdie.
was exciting. Birdie was
in what
two grown men jumping around in pigeons.
I know.
I'm back on the Boy in Blue side. Boy in Blue stays above Birdie. All right.
This is a miscarriage of justice.
There's our so Raising Arizona lands in the B tier on Ranking of Cage, and as always, you can see the full ranking list on our website srankmedia.com. All right, Ranking of Cage complete.
What is it with all these movies and when they have a woman on the cover, they have like a circle or like a keyhole behind it or something?
Is that
I
just
just
the?
noticed that.
That's it's
Like
just two. It's
Peggy
literally
2.
two of them. It's just two of them.
I know. So that's pretty. That's a clear majority of the sample we have here. So
Oh, jeez.
So what's
yeah.
next,
So
Colton?
Oh, next. Good. Okay, so next week, we're gonna be not ranking stuff, I believe.
Oh yeah, I will not be here next week.
Yeah, so we're gonna skip ranking next week. Potentially Kudro and I'll get on here and play some Deep Rock Galactic next week at 9 p.m. Eastern. But yeah, we're gonna skip rankings for next week. But the week after we'll be back. So the week after we got Vampire's
National Treasure.
Kiss.
Oh.
You got like 25 movies before you get
Oh
to
no.
that. Here I can
Vampire's Kiss.
let me just share my screen again. I can show you what we got.
I have a feeling this movie's gonna suck.
I think it's actually supposed to be okay. I mean, it'll
Wait.
probably.
Is that where that's where the Nicolas Cage meme is from? You know, where he's like,
Anyways, so in order, next we got Vampire's Kiss, and then you can see Time to Kill, Wild at Heart. So, yeah. So I guess we'll go Vampire's Kiss for the next Cage movie, and
all right.
oh no.
But
We're watching the next Tomb Raider movie, aren't we?
we do need to watch the next Tomb Raider movie.
All right, I was gonna say the next chronological one's Mario Bros, but we got some Tomb Raider to watch.
There's no place to stream Mario Bros.
Wow, this is what a ranking is supposed to look like.
Well, if we didn't have a guy on the other ranking of Cage rating everything in the F tier, maybe we could get somewhere.
I'm gonna change all my ratings to Fs.
Oh my gosh.
I gotta reevaluate some things in my life.
Okay, so we're gonna do 2 weeks from now. We're gonna do. Do you guys want to do Tomb Raider and Vampire's Kiss?
yeah.
Sounds good.
And
Sure.
then
So this is that picture.
oh, that's from
That's from
Vampire's
this
Kiss.
movie. Yeah.
Oh, that's this movie. Oh, I've seen
Yeah.
this movie.
Oh, okay, I haven't. So this is gonna be new for me. So
What a classic.
All right, then. Any other
right,
cool
guys.
stories from the week to talk about? Oh, dropping out, Josh. We will see you later. Thank
See
you for
you,
coming
Josh.
on
Thanks
for
for
Ranking of
coming.
Cage. And hopefully Josh will be back for Ranking of Cage sometime in the next month.
Yeah.
We'll
I
see.
mean, we're doing it in 2 weeks now.
2 weeks. Yeah, we'll see what your
Okay.
schedule
Yeah, we'll
looks
see
like.
where we're at that point. See you guys later.
I'll see you later.
Bye
see you,
bye.
Josh.
The only thing I can think of is the Call of Duty beta was this weekend, and there's
sick.
there's the Sony versus Microsoft.
Oh yeah,
battle for Call of Duty
guys,
right now.
I didn't realize how like aggressive people still were about consoles, but man, just go on Twitter. Holy shit, people are really upset about Microsoft and Sony. And but what so the beta for like just regular Call of Duty, not Warzone?
The Modern Warfare 2 remake.
Does it include, because that's when Modern Warfare 2 comes out, you're getting Warzone 2.0.
Correct.
Does the beta include that?
I'm not sure. I know they had like a streamers only like
streamers only
where they like showcased, Modern Warfare 2, and I think they showcased Warzone 2.0 as well. I think the beta was just for Modern Warfare 2, so just like the multiplayer game mode.
I don't.
But it was exclusive for PlayStation first because they have like an agreement with Sony. So that's kind of like PlayStation has the upper hand right now for the beta because they get it like 2 or 3 days earlier or something like that.
Is that still pulling numbers like that for betas?
Well, there's been some pretty big hype for this one, just because
yeah,
it's attached to Modern Warfare 2, and Modern Warfare 2 was like one of the
sure.
biggest games for
I'm
Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3.
I'm like semi interested in Warzone 2.0. Maybe not to enough of a level that I'll play it again, but
Yeah,
it's like I have some interest in it.
yeah. I don't know if I'm gonna get it. I likely won't. I might try and play Warzone because I know that's gonna be free to play.
Yeah.
But
Oh yeah, I can almost guarantee I won't get like Modern Warfare 2 for like the campaign or multiplayer. It would be
right,
Warzone at this point if I was going to play anything.
I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me to keep giving Call of Duty money every year for their games, but I don't know. Anything else on that?
I
No,
haven't played a Call of Duty in years. One thing I will mention is talking about games that are actually good. Uh, Well Long Fallen Dynasty, actually, its demos out right now.
oh sweet.
I was watching some gameplay of it earlier in the week. It definitely looks like the one effectively is going to be the spiritual successor to Neo for Team
Mhm.
Ninja. So
Right.
I might actually. I think it's the demo's out until the 26th. So I might try to hop online and play that.
I don't I I don't generally. I guess if it was a game I was really on the fence about playing, but if there's a game I already know I want to play, I generally don't want a demo or like I just want to play it when it comes out. I feel like I'm so over like the idea of being able to play a game for like 5 or 10 hours, then have to wait 2 months to then play the game. Like it's like because it's like with betas and stuff. Like a lot of times I don't have any interest in a beta if I already know I want to play a game. I found that's the way I didn't used to feel that way. I remember Diablo 3. I was so into the idea of Diablo 3. I was on like message boards and like I got a beta code and then I played the beta and it was like 2 hours and I was kind of like, okay, well, and it just, I don't know. I've like broken my desire to play things. Sometimes even like I really want to play Baldur's Gate 3 but I don't want to play it till it's done. So I'd rather just wait, and it's probably gonna be like another year before because you've been able to buy it for a year already. But I just want to play it when it's done, kind of.
Well, okay. I would defend demos. I mean, I'm kind of with you. Like, I don't have.
Oh,
I
I'm not.
kind of
I'm not
hate.
saying. I'm not saying demos are bad. I think they're really cool that you can do that. I was just saying like a personal thing. Like if it's a game I knew I wanted to play, but carry on.
Yeah, I mean, my whole point with it is like, if they're, it's still kind of a little bit earlier in the development period, you can kind of get on, you can give the developer some feedback on some things
Sure.
that you're seeing in the game.
Yeah.
I mean, like, if it is a game like you do really want to play and you want it to be the best game possible, then I mean, I feel like it would actually be to your benefit to play the demo
Mhm.
because then it's like, okay, I'm noticing X, Y, and Z that
It,
isn't working for me.
yeah, in a case where that what the developer's actually doing, right? I feel
Yeah.
like a lot of cases the betas are not that at all. They're just ways to build hype because it's like the game's like done and
Well, I know in the case, well, yeah, betas, I mean,
or server testing, like load the servers up, see how they do.
yeah, that's a little bit different. I know in this case with Wolong Fallen Dynasty, the demo, and I know like once you beat the demo, then they're actually like you specifically can like give them feedback regarding your experience playing
Oh,
the game.
that's pretty cool. I guess carryover demos like Harvestella has a demo where your stuff carries over, so I
Yeah, I
might
know
play that.
other games have done that too. I think like
Yeah.
Triangle Strategy for the Switch was doing that as well. I don't know what they're going to do for this one. The one thing I know is that if you complete the demo, when the game fully releases, there will be a bonus.
Yeah.
You'll get a bonus for beating the demo.
Yeah, I guess it's not to say that I have a problem with these things. It's just a lot of times I don't participate. I'm like, I'll play it when it comes out.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, fair enough.
But anyways. All right. We stream this show every Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Next week we'll be on doing some live streaming for a little bit, and then we'll be back with the rankings. a week after. You can find the audio version of the ranking shows on all podcast platforms. If you like the show, you can follow us on Twitch or YouTube, or subscribe on your podcast platform of choice. Goose Fraba 369, we're very glad that you made it home okay. Nice job running 5 miles. Yeah, but we will see you guys next week.
See you, everybody.